Hey everybody, PACKT at Worcester Animal Rescue League. We're really excited to be featuring them from August through October, donating 10% of our sales. We got some great footage with Executive Director Allie. What else?
Got to see a few pets, some cats, some birds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
So just know that this is where your donations will be going this period, and we're excited to have your support. And we got some new stuff coming out too, so stay tuned. Allie, thank you so much for having us. We're so excited to be featuring the Worcester Animal Rescue League. So I know, we're here. We love to learn more about your history with the Rescue League. I know you've been here for a while now, and even just learning a little bit just from it starting back in 1912, I think I read.
Yeah.
And just kind of getting your, what inspired you to get involved with Worcester Animal Rescue League?
Sure. So I wasn't around then, of course, 107 years ago, but the organization was founded by a group of women who were determined to save overworked draft horses because that was what was needed back in 1912. So since then, in the last 107 years, we've shifted focus a little bit, primarily caring for cats and dogs and some critters. And each year that's over 1,500 animals. And we're really proud of the people and the pets that we serve. And it's generally animals that come from the community. So it's folks like you and I and families that may need to surrender their pet for unforeseen circumstances, animals that go stray and their owners aren't able to be located. And then when we have space to do so, we'll take in animals from different shelters, even in the state or the country, or as far as even the Virgin Islands, which we have a partnership with St. Thomas Humane Society and some other humane societies down there in the Virgin Islands that we'll take up dogs from. But our focus is local first. We want to make sure that home is taken care of, and there isn't this overpopulation so much in the Northeast, and a lot of that credit goes to the progressive spay and neuter programs that have happened here in the last decade, not just here at our shelter but within the region. But there is a need for still rescue because there's still some pockets, especially with cats, of overpopulation. But there's this need of local animals that may have behavior issues or medical issues that are just beyond what one person's capacity might be, and that's where our shelter steps in.
Oh, that's awesome.
So these are some of the dogs that are up for adoption. Most of them came in as strays. Buster and Bambi have to go home together. They love one another. They depend on one another.
Oh, that's awesome. What would you say, percent? I mean, I know it changes at any given time, but would you say a mix of out of state, rescues from down south or St. Thomas? What's the typical mix?
Yeah, and 90% of our animals are local Worcester County animals. We're the holding facility for the city of Worcester, so if a stray animal comes in, picked up by Animal Control or a Good Samaritan, they come here.
Oh, wow.
And they're held for 7 days if it's a dog, and that's a state law, or 5 days if it's a cat, and that's really just how long we think it's appropriate to hold them on to before an owner, before their hours at the shelter. So once that period has been reached, then they're spayed or neutered, vaccinated. I mean, we do so much medically to these animals to prepare them for adoption. And then up for adoption they go. And they stay with us till they're adopted. There's no time or space limit. We place over 95% of our animals. A lot of the next animals we're not going to touch, so I won't even bring you in there. But that's the kennel of people are boarding their dogs. That's where they go. And then cats that have just come in or sick kitties go through there. This is our donated dog food. That's great.
Oh, that's awesome.
So this is some of the dog food and treats that we get donated, and we run off of community donations, so that'll keep us going for a while. But it's still, we go through a lot of food, as you can imagine.
You know how many pounds of food you go through?
I have those statistics, just not on my.
Oh, that's awesome.
Watch your step. Yeah. So here's our cat food and other supplies. So this is our surgery suite too, where we do spays and neuters and all of the other stuff. Like these little guys just wake up and surgery. I've always loved animals. I grew up with animals, and my parents always instilled compassion, in me when I was growing up, and to treat animals and people with respect. So it was pretty natural. It was always something, I was always that little kid playing with my stuffed animals and being a veterinarian.
Yeah.
And I applied and started working with the cats and the dogs here and cleaning up after them. And when I graduated from Worcester State with a business degree, I put in for the executive director position because there was an opportunity there. And at 24, I was chosen as the director, and it's been a really interesting journey.
That's awesome.
So I've been in this position for almost 10 years.
Wow.
It's a lot of, I've been with the organization for almost 15, and it's been half of my life, and I'm really proud of the work that we do here, and the team that I work with, the staff and the volunteers.
I imagine you have a lot.
We do have a lot of volunteers. We have about 20 staff,
Okay.
but it's easy to be motivated when you see the animals and directly what you're doing helps them. But it's also really easy to get overwhelmed by it all. But have a team of support like the staff and the volunteers here really just are more almost of a motivator for me, because they're here day in and day out, blood, sweat, and tears. Seeing things in situations that animals should never be in at the hands of people, and still coming back day after day.
Right.
And it's beautiful.
Yeah. What's that little girl? Oh, you're such a sweetie. You are so nice. How old is she?
Zeta is 1.5 years. She came in as a stray.
So you must have, be pretty close with the animal control
Yes.
officers in the area.
Yes. And that's often a misconception, is that they work under our organization, and they don't. They work under the police department. They have the jurisdiction to enter a home and that sort of legalities, where we don't. And it's frustrating sometimes, because we'll get the calls. Hey, we see this dog tied out, or somebody's abusing a dog, and there's a process that you have to follow.
Yeah.
But if you were to walk in the kennels, some people go, wow, it's almost like a jail. That's certainly not what we think of it. It's kind of like a camp.
Right.
Like a summer camp. It's a transition from one place in their life to another, and they get great care here. But it is stressful.
No. I mean, and if people want to get involved or donate, how would you recommend they do that, or get in touch with you guys, or what's like the best process for that?
Yeah. So we do rely on donations of both monetary donations and supply donations. So that could be dog food, cat food, kitty litter. Non-clumping kitty litter is always on our wish list. Laundry detergent, bleach, toys. Those are some of our most popular supplies that we need.
That your adoption process takes paperwork and
It's a fairly open adoption process.
Yeah.
So we have people come in and meet the dogs and cats, and we really have a conversation with people. We want their whole family to come down and meet the dog or the cat.
Yeah.
sure.
And they can, if everything's cool, then they can take the dog or cat home that day.
Yeah.
If they rent, we need to have a landlord approval.
Okay.
But other than that, we don't do like a ton of background checks or references. We really appreciate the conversation that we have with people and the questions that they ask and that we ask them, and how the dog or cat reacts to them, and vice versa. I think that's just as important as some of those reference checks and home checks and that sort of thing.
Hey, man.
Who did you do? Did you do? I know, you're stressing out. You're gonna get adopted this weekend, I know it.
Hey, man.
Yeah,
Stay here.
are you the boy? Oh yeah, he'll definitely get adopted.
So on our website we have an Amazon wish list, and you can also follow us on Facebook to see, hey, this week we need peanut butter to fill the Kongs, to give the dogs as enrichment, or paper towels or something like that. So our website's worcesterarl.org, and our Facebook is facebook.com Worcester Animal Rescue League.
That's awesome. We have a couple gifts from our stuff for you guys. You can choose
Aw.
what you want to do with it. You can,
Wonderful.
we have some. It won't come out.
What's in there?
So these are
Ooh.
2 of our leashes.
Oh, I like that.
PACKT colors, teal and red.
Nice.
And then we
Yeah,
have
those are our original colors.
3
teal,
colors.
red, and
These
black.
are quick
Nice.
release color, and we have 2 of our classic colors we're going to be
These are great.
giving to you guys to, if you want to.
Yeah, whatever you want to do.
Give them out as a
Whatever
gift
you
to
wanna
your
give- yeah,
volunteers.
yourself or
So yeah, we have our classic quick release, and we are going to come out with new stuff. We'll have to give you a little.
I love the color.
That'd be fun.
Well, cool. I really appreciate you taking the time to.
Oh my gosh.
We love to give. Like, so we don't want to just be that company that says, oh, we're just going to donate X to, the ASPCA. We really want to get to know the shelters we work with, and that's kind of our initiative, to not just do blanket donations, but also bring you guys to the forefront, awareness, what you guys are doing, and I feel like once a lot of people see that, they understand, and hopefully it'll drive more people to adopt and, and support as well. So
I'm very grateful for that because, a program, a group like the ASPCA and some of those national groups are doing such hard work all over the country and are very deserving as well. But it is really nice to have recognition locally and get to know who your local neighbor is and what they're doing to help the animals that are in your community. You really get to see directly where your money goes.
Yeah, exactly. That's
where you make the impact.
Yeah, exactly. Impact, that's what inspired our name, PACKT.
There you go.
Really, that's true.
Although some people think their name is PACKT.
Yeah, so it is pronounced PACKT.
Yes.
So just so.
Yes. Yeah.
Funny to see that.
No, I love this. This is awesome.
Option. Can't keep kids going without yeah. Do the best with what we have.
I know. Try to support you guys.